In this video of JavaScript, we will begin with the variables.
So now in order to declare the variable, here we will use the var keyword, and after that you will name the identifier. So like here, if I want to store some name, I will name the variable, that is the name, and then if you want you can assign the value right here, or you can do it later. So if I want to assign the value, what I'll do, I'll put a double quotes, since here I want to store the string type of data. As we already discussed that JavaScript is not a type safe language, it is loosely typed language, so you don't have to specify a specific data type right here. Just by specifying the var keyword you can define a variable, and after that you can assign any type of value into it. Let's say here I assign a value. Similarly, if I want to assign some other things like age, which is a numeric value, I can do that as well. And similarly you can assign any type of value like the same. For example, if you want to assign some decimal numbers also, you can do that in the very same way like this. And similarly, whenever you want to print the data, you will use the same method, that is document.write, which we have already used, either document.write or document.writeln. So make sure that whenever you are printing the value of an identifier, you will not put them in the quotation and you will keep them like this. But if you want to put anything before that, you can simply put it in double quotes like name and then a concatenation symbol, that is the plus. So let's save this one and see the output in the browser. So as here you can see, similarly if I want to do some more things, I can do that in a very simple way. If I will run this, you will see all the things in the same line like this. But if you want to break the line, as we know, we use the BR in the HTML, so I will simply concatenate that right after each message like this, and again in age, and if I'll do anything after salary, so that will again come in the next line. So now this is the output we were looking for. So similarly like this, you can start creating the variables and can assign the values as per your requirement.
In this video of JavaScript, we are going to cover arrays.
And here I have written a very simple program of bubble sort, in which I am sorting an array in ascending order of length 6. So here in the very first line you can see I have assigned some values in an array like 7, 2, 8, 1, 3, 4. It's a random values I have put inside this, and now I want to sort it out. So before sorting, I have just printed the value right here like this before sort, and if, as you know, it's a 6 number of elements are there, so 0 to 5 this loop is running, and I'll print each and every value out there. Now as soon as I printed, I'll start doing the bubble sort. So for any successful bubble sort, I need to run a loop for n into n minus 1 times. So that is what I have done here. Like here it's n is the length of the array, that is 6. So this loop is running for the 6 times, inner loop is running for the 5 times, so overall it will be running at the 30 times. So that is the maximum number of cycles that we have to execute for a successful bubble sort. So let's see what I have done inside this particular loop. So here you can see like j is started from 0 and obviously it is less than 5. So when the first time this loop would be running, the value of j is 0 and j plus 1 is of course 1. So if the value of the earlier value, if the earlier value is greater than the later value, for example j is 0 and 1, so if ARR 0 is greater than ARR 1, of course in this particular case 7 is greater than 2. So what I want is I'll have to swap these two values so that 2 will come before the 7. Alright, that will not make it a complete sort, but of course the two values would be sorted because it is the ascending order, so any smaller value have to come before the greater value. So that is what I have done inside this. Like these three lines are simply swapping the values of the 0th and 1th index. So the index or the value of 1th index will be here in the 0th index, and the 7 which is at 0th index will come to the first index. So similarly, this loop will go for this 5 times, means 0 to 4 index would be covered. And of course, as you can see here in the logic, I am putting j plus 1. So the last index is 5. When j is 4, so what it will be saying, if ARR 4 is greater than ARR 5, that means these two values will be compared, and if required the swapping will take place, but only in one cycle. The complete sorting will not be done. So to iterate this particular concept again and again, I have placed it inside this another loop, and it will make it show like in 30 cycles this loop will be sorted completely, and after that I have printed the loop again in the very same way I have done it earlier. So let's execute, and here you can see the output. Like initially it was like 7 2 8 1 3 4, and later it's 1 2 3 4 7 8. Alright, if you want to sort it to the descending order, you can simply replace the greater than symbol to the less than. Now the swapping will be done when the smaller value is before the larger value. So now you can see this whole array is being converted into the descending order sorted.
In this video of JavaScript, we are going to start the operators.
So for getting started with the arithmetic operators, I will take a couple of variables like num1, I'll assign some value such as 40, and num2, in which I will assign again some value like 10. Now, as we have already discussed about the arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division, and modulus, so let's do them very quickly. I am not taking any variable, I am just printing the results directly. You can actually take a variable and can assign some value into that if you want to reuse that value further. So what I do here is num1 plus num2, and here I am just adding these two numbers. Very similarly, I'll do some more tasks like subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and finding the modulus. So before proceeding, let's break the line for each like this, and let's see the output now. So here 40 plus 10 is 50, 40 minus 10 is 30, 40 multiplied by 10 is 400. When you will divide 40 with 10, in quotient you will get 4, and in remainder it's 0. So like this, all the operators are working perfectly. Now let's do it in another ways. Like for example, if I say var result is equal to num1 plus num2, so the result will be assigned to the result variable. Alright, and you can now print that particular value like this, and it will work like same. But if you want to do some shorthand operation like things, you can do that as well. But for that, let's take some other scenario. Like here, what I'm doing is I'm just incrementing the value of num1 to an extent. For example, num1 is equal to num1 plus 5. What it will do, it will simply add the 5 in the current value of num1, which is 40, and will change the current value, that is the new value, to 45. So now if I will print the value of num1, you will get 45. But for the same thing, I can actually write it like this also, that is plus equals to. That means the same and will give you exact same output like this. It's again giving you 45. Now let's talk about the operator precedence. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just take one more variable called result, And now what we'll do is 10 plus 5 into 20. So now when I will print the value of result, what it will do is, first of all, since the multiplication precedence is higher than the plus, so first of all 5 will get multiplied to the 20, which will result you 100, and then this 100 would be added to the 10, which will give you 110 in the output. But if you want to change the precedence, you can put them in the parentheses, so the precedence of parentheses is always higher. So now this 10 plus 5 would be done, that is the 15, and then that 15 would be multiplied to 20, which will give you 300, like this. Alright, so this is about the operator precedence. Now let's change the value of the variables of numeric types using the single operators or the unary operators, that is plus plus or minus minus. So here, as we have already discussed, like whenever you will use this plus plus operator, it will actually make the increment by 1. So now when I'll refresh, you can see it's 11, and they come into two varieties. This is the post increment, and if you'll put the plus plus before, it will be a pre-increment. Let's talk about the difference. Since here I have used plus plus num, that means it is pre-increment and the increment will be done before the value is getting assigned to the result. So before the assignment, the increment would be done, that is num will become 11, and then that 11 would be assigned to result. So in this particular case, both the values would be having 11. Let me break the line to get the clear output. Right, like this. But in case if I'll go for the post increment, that will give you a different result. In this particular case, since it is the post increment, that means the assignment would be done before the increment. So by the time the value of num would be assigned to the result would be having 10, and after this assignment the value of num would be incrementing, so the num will have the 11. So when you will print the value of result, it will give you a 10, and while num will give you 11. Let's check it out. The same result which I was talking about. And very similarly, you can do it for the minus minus operator as well, as the way of using the pre and post increment or decrement is going to be very same. Now for implementing the comparison operator, what I have done, I have simply taken a variable, and using the assignment operator I have assigned a value called 100. It's a fixed value, and now I have used all the comparison operator, that is double equals to for comparing the equality, not equals to, greater than equal to, less than equal to, greater than, and less than. So when I'll say that num1, which is currently 100, is equal to 10, so obviously it will give you a false. Though JavaScript is not a type safe language, but whenever you will compare a condition, it will return a boolean data, either true or false, and in this particular case it will give you a false. But in the next statement, when you will say that num1, which is 100, is not equal to 10, so obviously 100 is not equal to 10. In this particular case, it will give you a true. As we know, 100 is greater than 10, so when you will say num1 is greater than or equals to, so in this particular case, if the value of num1 is either equals to or greater than 10, so the result will be true. Since it is greater, it is going to return you a true. But since 100 is not less than 10, so it will give you a false. Similarly, the same will happen in these cases, like 100 is greater than 10, so a true, and 100 is not lesser than 10, so it is a false. Basically, the difference between the greater than and greater than equals to is like it will give you a false even though the num1 and 10 both are having the same value. That is, if I'll make it to 10 and 10 is greater than 10, will give you a false. But if I'll say 10 is greater than or equal to 10, So since it is equal to, it will give you a true. Let's check out the output now. Since we should get the false true true, false true false. So let's refresh this, and false true true, false true false. The same output which we predicted is here. Now here in this video, along with the logical operators, we are also implementing the ternary operator. So first of all, let's have a look in the ternary operator. So what I have done here, this question mark and this colon both are comprising the ternary operator. Ternary operator, which means the operator having three operands. So the first operand is the complete condition, which will return you a Boolean value that is either true or false. If the result is true, then the second operand, or if the result is false, then the third operand is returned. So basically in this particular operator, the first operator is evaluated, the first operand is evaluated, and according to that the second or third operand will be returned to this particular variable. So what I'm doing here, I have taken a couple of variables for you, taking the user ID and password, and I have used the prompt box for that. So as soon as user will enter, I will check like whether user ID and password, if both the conditions are true. So as per the AND operator, it will return you a true when both of the conditions are true. So as whenever we do the login, the username and password both must match in order to get a successful login result. So if both are correct, so this AND operator will return you the true, and in that case I will assign welcome in the message. And similarly, if any of these will be incorrect, so this AND operator will return you a false, resultant to which the invalid user string will be assigned to the message variable. So let's run it and see the output. So now it's saying welcome, but if I'll enter anything incorrect, as you were saying earlier as well, so it will say invalid user. So that's what I discussed, like when each of the condition is false, then it will return you a false. Now what if I want to go for the OR operator? So let's change the program to a bit. So in this program, what I have done is I am taking a username in this program using the prompt box, and after that I am comparing. Means when you use the OR operator, obviously this single variable cannot have both the values at a time. So surely only one condition is going to return a true, while other will return a false, or maybe both conditions will be false. But even if a single condition is returning you a true, this OR operator will just return you that true, and accordingly I will be getting welcome or invalid user. So let's save it and run it. So now what I'll do, I'll enter, it's saying welcome, again I'll refresh, it's saying welcome, but if I'll enter anything apart from that, you see it's invalid user. Alright, so this is what I can do using this OR operator. But if I'll talk about the NOT operator, it is a simple unary operator. Like I assigned this NOT operator right here, so it is going to behave just reverse. So let's see how it's going to behave now. So now when I'll enter, it will say invalid. Apart from that, if I'll enter anything, it's going to say welcome. That's what I said. This NOT operator will simply return the true to false and false to true. It will simply reverse the result of the condition.
In this video of JavaScript, we are going to begin a very important concept called functions.
Now in this implementation of functions, I have placed the script tag inside the head section. As you can see, so far I was putting the script tag in the body because anytime when this page would be loaded, the code inside the script tag will get executed. But rather than executing the code now, I will execute that in a particular event. So I'd be treating the JavaScript code as a resource which will be utilized whenever we require. So here there's a script tag with its function with I have used a keyword called function, and the name is say hello. So make sure whenever you are invoking this particular function, you will have to pass this say hello, or whatever name you are passing to the function, you'll have to pass the name in the very same case. Inside this, you can do any logical task which you want. Now here I just printed a message using document.write, or you can go for the alert as well. Hello there, a very simple message. Now let's come to the body, and you see, without using the script tag, I can call this particular function. How? There's a button which I have for which I have used the input tag of HTML. Type is equal to button, value is equal to say hello, on click. This is nothing but the event on which I am invoking the function. In this particular example, I will only take care of the on click event. In our next video, we will cover some more events that can be used for calling the various functions of JavaScript. Now let's execute this particular program, and here you can see, as soon as I will click over this button, you will get the message hello there. Let's refresh it, again click, again I got the same message. So this is how you can write a very basic function and can start invoking it. But whenever I will click on this particular button, I will get the very same output. Now if I want, like, rather than passing hello there, I want to pass a particular name. So I should be able enough to pass some value in this function execution, so that every time I am calling this function, I can pass various values, and using those various values I will be getting the different values in the output. So for that I will use the parameters. So now I have made a minor changes in this program, and in the say hello function I have passed two parameters with the name and age. So whatever you will pass, name is age years old, means that is the message that will be printed. But every time when you will enter a new name and new age, the output will be changed. So in the UI, that is in the body section, I have created a couple of text boxes with the name T1 and T2 respectively. The first text box is to take the name, the placeholder is the enter name, and for the T2 it's enter age. So whatever value you will pass, when I'll click the button, it will say hello, and the couple of values will be passed here. So first of all, I will pass T1 dot value right here, and then in the second parameter, since it's for the age, second parameter, alright, so it's for the T2 dot value. Make sure the sequence of passing and passing the parameters by the time you are defining it and by the time you are calling it should be same. So as here, the first thing is the age, second thing is the first thing is the name, second thing is the age. So similarly, I have passed the name first, then the age, because T1 is for the name and T2 is for the age. So let's execute this page now. As you can see, this is the placeholder, alright. So I'll enter any value inside it, like let's enter any age, say hello. Similarly, alright. Similarly, if I'll enter some new value, like let's say Amit 32, say hello, Amit is 32 years old. Alright. So this is how you can start passing the values inside the function body. Now let's say I want to terminate this particular function if no value is passed. So what can I do is I can simply write like if name is equal to blank, or means if any one of the text box is blank, age is equal to blank, then I want to terminate this particular function, and I have something called return keyword which is actually used to terminate the function. So here I am not specifying any value. If you want, you can specify any value as well, like return false, return true, or if any particular processed value you want to return, you can return anything. But here I just want, like, this particular statement should only execute when both the text boxes are filled. So let's execute it now. If I'll say hello, you see nothing is going on, alright. But if I will comment these two lines, and I'll refresh. You see blank is years old. Alright, so this is not the valid output I want, so that's why I added this particular condition, like this particular document.write statement will be executed only when both the text boxes are properly filled up. If any one is blank, then nothing is going to happen. If both are blank and I entered name but still age is not there, so that's why. Now it is completed and I got the message as well. So this is how you can start working with the functions in JavaScript and can pass the value through the argument and can get the value from the function using the return keyword.
In this video of JavaScript, we are going to deal with the events.
So now in this example, we'll cover the couple of more events like mouse over and mouse out. So basically what I have done is, in the body I have taken the image tag in which I have actually not specified any particular image, and I have also not specified the size of this img tag. That means I am taking the actual size of the image here. If you want, you can take the size as per your requirement. But apart from that, if I talk about the events in the body, I have called a method called onLoad. Means this particular event will be fired as soon as the page will be loaded on a particular browser. But at that particular time, a particular image will be set to this img tag on the load event. So as you can see here, like the name of this img tag is img1, so I'm accessing that particular image from this load method, like document.images img1, and src means I am setting the source for this particular img tag img1 which is there in the body. There may be a number of img tags in the body, so I am specifying the specific one. Now here I have a couple of images like logo green and logo red. So on the load, I want this logo green to be there in the image, but as soon as I will put the mouse over that image, so as you can see here on mouse over, I have called a method called mouse over, and there I am setting the logo red.png. That means that particular image will be swapped and the new image will be there as soon as you will be putting the mouse over the image. But when you will move the mouse out of the image, this mouse out event will be called and it will again set the logo green in that image. So let's see how the output is looking like. So this is what the logo green is here. When I'll put the mouse over it, you can see this is the logo red, and now if I'll put the mouse out of this image, again this is logo green. So you can see the effect of the event like mouse out and mouse over. So this is how you can try some more events. In the tutorial you will find a list of events, so you can try any of the event on a particular control or the tag and you can do the relevant operation on that event. So here inside the body you can see like I have placed the img tag for putting the animation, and here I have 4 images in the same location, that is 1 2 3 4.png. alright, and the name of this img tag is img1, so that I can access it from the JavaScript code from this name. And I have called a couple of methods which I'll discuss later, but before that let's go to the JavaScript tag to see how I have placed the animation. As here you can see in the very first line inside the script, I have placed an array of images in which I have just put the name of the images, as I said, 1.png, 2.png, 3.png and 4.png. So one by one I want these images will be set in the img tag, and for pointing each particular element of this array I have taken the I means index variable which will point an individual element of this array. Now after that I have taken a reference so that I can control the timer and the slideshow which I am getting started. I'll discuss about this ref later. Now inside this function pick library, what I have done is document.images. since you can have a number of img tags in your document, I am asking for the first one with the index 0. Either you can use this particular name also inside this square bracket. So just I wanted to check, like the src will be arri. Initially the value of I is 1. The index will begin with 0, but I want that the it should start with the 1. Why? Because by default I have placed the 1.png in the img tag. Alright, so as soon as you will load it, you will see this 1.png, but after a second it will be changed to 2.png. How? Because this will do the thing. It will set the image at the index 1, and then it will do the increment by 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3. If this increment will make it greater than 3, I will reset the value to 0. Alright, and now I will create another function called start. Inside this I have used the set interval method. Basically this set interval method will take a couple of arguments. The first one is the callback function. So here I have passed the name of this function with the name pick library, and it will set like this set interval function will keep on calling this pick library after each 1000 milliseconds. So after each 1000 milliseconds this method will be called again every time the increment will be there. That's why I have taken this particular variable I outside the scope, outside the function as a global variable. Alright, now it will start the things, and now to stop and one more thing, by the time I was setting the interval, I assigned the reference of this interval to the variable called ref, which I have defined already. Now in the stop, when I want to stop the slideshow of the images, I will just pass that reference itself, because there may be a number of intervals there in the single HTML page. So I need to specify like which particular interval I need to clear. That means when I'll say clear interval ref, it will stop calling this pick library after each 1000 milliseconds, that is 1 second. And when actually I'm stopping that, as soon as you will put the mouse over the image, it will stop it. Means you can easily see that particular image, but as soon as you will say mouse out, again that particular interval would be set. So you can do that. And one more thing, I want this slideshow to be there, to be started as soon as the page gets loaded. So I can also call this start function on the onload event. So what I'll do, I'll simply say start. Alright, so now let's come to the browser and see how the output is looking like. So here you can see the different color of logos are there. Alright, so some of them are 1.png, 2.png and all. As soon as I will put the mouse over this image, you see now the image is not getting changed. Alright, but as soon as I will move the mouse out of the image, again this transition will begin. So in the same way you can use the set interval function for the different purposes, like if you want to change the color of the font or of the background at a particular time, you can just set the logic like this, and you can put some animations in the output on the client side.
In this video, we are going to cover the JavaScript objects.
Now here you can see I have created the first JavaScript object with the name tutorial, and inside this, rather than passing the single value, I have created multiple properties and have assigned the value in each property. Like I have created a variable or an object with the name tutorial, and inside that tutorial object I have placed 3 properties, that is topic, trainer and mode. So you can see each 3 property is having a value. So you can create a separate objects like that with the different properties and can assign the value. You can also create the array of such objects and can put in a separate file which we call the JSON file, that is JavaScript Object Notation. And you can use very different ways to read that particular JSON file which we have nowadays. Like you can read it from the Node application, from the Angular application. There are a number of ways, but here we are not going up to that level. You can check the different tutorials for that. But here, particularly in this one, I have created just a single object and can read the different properties out of this object. So as here you can see, topic is tutorial, means the object name, and by separating a dot with the dot you can pass the property name like tutorial.topic, tutorial.trainer, tutorial.mode. So make sure it's case sensitive, so you are using in the very same case. So if you will see the output, you can see like topic, trainer, and the mode is online. So this is what, when you want to read a particular object property by property. But we do have a loop here using which I can go for this object reading, and that is a for in loop. So if I'll see the syntax of the for in loop, you can see here, let me align this first. Alright, okay. So here what I have done is I have taken the text property here, text variable here, which is initialized with a blank. Alright, and then to point the specific property of this particular object, I have used this X. You can take anything. Alright, so now inside this for in, what is there? For X in tutorial, this is the main object, and X will be pointing the specific property inside this object. So you can see like tutorial X. So X means it will start from the 0, then it will point out the first property, second property, and third property, and as many as there. So I'll concatenate that all the values, only the values. No, I'm not specifying the property name here, but just the value of each property will be concatenated to this string called txt, and I'm separating all the values with the comma. So if I'll refresh this page, you can see JavaScript, that is the first property value, the second property value, and then online the third property value. So it's all up to you, like how you want to read this specific object, either property wise like this, or you can do all the reading and can store all the values inside this string variable. And as in the string methods, we have already done the split function. So later if you want to assign all these different values in the array, you can do that using this split method, and each value will be stored in the array. So this is all about the JavaScript object.